Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to see the data types and the assignments in Python. So in case of Python, if you want to use any variable of any data type, then you don't need to explicitly declare it. Python will itself infers the correct type at the time of execution. Let's see an example. Suppose you write like a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20, and then you write like s is equal to a plus b. Then the Python will itself find out like what is the type of A. Since you have provided 10, so it's an integer. So Python knows now that A should be an integer, B should be an integer. And the sum of the two integers is again an integer, so it should be an integer. So if you want to see the sum, you can see the sum, but if you want to see the type, like what is the type, then you can use the function type. So you can write like S. So we are trying to find out the type of S. Okay, so the type of S should come out to be an integer. So let's see. Yes, so it came out to be an integer. So it will look like class int. So it will give you the result class int. So that way you can find out the type of the object, type of the variable. Now let's see if I make it 20.8. So what is this? This is a float. When we add a float with an integer, then the result is a float. So now the type of S should be a float. See here. S is a float because we are adding an integer with a float, and the uh, addition of an integer and a float is a float. Okay, so this is the way you can do this, and let's see one more example. If you make it like 3 plus 5z, so it's a complex number. So when you add a complex number with an integer, then the result is a complex number. Okay, so now the type of S will be a complex number. Okay, so this is the way you can find it out. So in one of the other videos we have discussed about the types and its conversions. So there you will find it in details. Okay, but if you want to decide the type, if you want to provide the type, then in that case what you need to do, you need to explicitly decide the type. This is not mandatory, but if you want to explicitly decide the type, if explicitly provide the type, then in that case you can do that. So how you will do that? So it's like a, and you write like int a colon int is equal to 10, b colon int is equal to 20, and then s colon int is equal to a plus b. Now if you print S, then you will be able to see the output as 30 because 10 and 20 are 30. And then if you want to see the type, so it will be int. Okay, so if you put it like complex, and if you put like 20 plus 5j, then the sum should be a complex, right? So we are converting from complex to, you know, integer, which is not correct. So, I mean, it will do this, but, you know, the complex and integer sum is a complex. So we need to make it, the resultant as S as complex. Okay, so now the output is, a complex. Now we put the real output here, then it will come out to be 30 plus 5j. Okay, so this is the way you can do this. 30 plus 5j, it will come. Okay, so apart from this, there is another data type which is a common data type for all. So that is any. So if you provide like a any is equal to 10, or you can provide 3 plus 4j, that can be done. You can provide like 40.67, something like that. Anything, any means any data type. It can take any data type. And if you want to convert any data type to the other data type, you can do that. So if you do something like b int is equal to 10, and if you want to convert b a into b, then you need to assign it to a is equal to b. And now if you print it, then it will be like this. So it came out to be 10. Okay, so we are assigning a into b. So a has become now integer. Now, if you do the vice versa, then b is equal to a, then it will also become like if you print b, then what will be the output? Let's see. So 40.67. So b will become, you know, a float because b was earlier integer, but a, whatever value you are providing, that is a float. So that will be converted into a float. So this rule you need to remember. So this thing, the next thing at the line number 12, we have already covered. And we have also covered this like use type function to get the information about the type of the variable. Okay, so if you write like type b that we have already discussed, so you will be able to see the type of B will come out to be a float. Okay, so I hope the basic concept related to declaring the variables and assigning the values you might have understood here. So there is no need to provide the type of value variable explicitly, but for the readability of the program, you must need to provide that. You should provide that so that the readability of the program should be maintained. When you provide a variable with a specific type, when you declare it with a specific type and someone else is looking into your program, then it becomes easier to maintain for the fellow guys who are coming after you in your organization. So I hope you might have understood the concept. In the next video, we will see few things related to the variables. Thank you.